Guys, no rest for the wicked. We're going to jump right back into this one, but I've kicked FLICKR off the desk. I'm going to be joined by Clement. How you doing, Clement?
Bye-bye, FLICKR. I'm Clement. Hi, I'm doing fine.
Hello, I am Clement. How are you feeling about this matchup, Clement? So we've got FPX going against BLG today. You were just talking to me about their draft. You feel like it was actually a good read here coming out from FPX. Well, going to put that one on hold. I know I just asked you a question as we're about to get onto the rift here between the two teams.
All right.
I feel like the enemy team was a bit uncoordinated there with the chants, but yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this draft.
Yeah, so the interesting thing here is that BLG now has a new identity with Chieftain and Mole on the roster. What this really has done is it kind of freed up their focus to go more into the bottom lane. These two people, they like to go into the enemy jungle and kind of look for kills, and after they have those priority and kills, they then move it towards the bot lane. And this is what they're trying to do again this game. You see the Skarner and Thresh combination. Thresh pulls the Lantern, throws the Lantern back, Skarner goes forward instantly, gets someone in the bot lane kill. FPX, I think they read BLG's new style, and they picked up a very early Tahm Kench. And this is really the contrast between the AD carries. LWX is much more of a late game hyper carry player. He typically goes for the Tristana and also the Caitlyn. Well, on the other hand, you see Jin Zhao, much more of the Jin and Varus type of player.
Really interesting stuff coming out from FPX, and also the fact that Cool has gone towards the Taliyah pick as well. So remember, his predecessor Bing very much liked the Taliyah pick because he would spend most of his laning phase outside of his lane, and his lane opponent would be very sad and lonely because of no one there to lane against. But Cool actually moving towards this pick, so I want to see the differences between his play and Bing's play.
Well, we can tell about the stats that there's a big difference in how they coordinate with their junglers. Cool is in 60% of their first bloods, where compared to Bing, he almost is never there. So a lot more focus in that duo between Pepper and Cool. And on the stats we see right now is between Amazing, Jay, and Gimgoon. These two also have very different styles. Gimgoon is the one that they've been blind picking a lot of carry champions for him. They just say, we trust in this guy, we know he's good enough. They just put him on Camille, put him on Fiora wherever they can. They don't even need to see a tank to really appear. They just put him on a blind pick. And for Amazing Jay, it's kind of the same thing. They do it with the Cyan and also the Ornn pick. Just picking something tanky and can initiate.
And it kind of put them just face to face, and we'll see what will happen in the top lane. We can also look at Mole as well, one of the new players heading onto BLG. And of course, this is a completely different playstyle looking towards mid and jungle, the 2v2, because they're different players.
Yep, Mole really likes action early. If you looked at his previous champions, we've seen the Vel'Koz, we've seen the Sion, all champions that want to create action, also the Zoe as well. So he's very different from Athena. Athena we call the Sleeping Beauty, while Mole is kind of the new guy, the new blood on the block. He wants to find early action, he wants to get into fights with people, and Chieftain is the jungler to make him do that.
Yeah, it's more like Rocky. He just wants to get in there and start brawling and start punching people. Mole on the Swain here, he's doing pretty fine.
Yep, and this is actually a big reveal in terms of champion pool. We now know that BLG can actually play the Swain, so it's been one of their missing pieces so far. We haven't seen it from Amazing Jay, we haven't seen it from the mid lane, and finally we do have confirmation. It's good to show this before you go into playoffs, just so everyone kind of knows and fears about it, and will still keep honest when they're on the red side.
Of course, this game is very important for BLG and FPX. Both of these two teams can still make it into playoff contention. Currently, BLG would be in playoffs if we just locked it right here, but they need to continue to pick up these wins. And the road ahead, not great for FPX. They are challenging some pretty strong teams ahead of them. They've got BLG today, but in the bottom lane, LWX getting caught out. He's going to get saved by Chris, but this is going to keep up the chase. A flash coming out from Chris will eventually diffuse the situation.
So double flash already burned from the bot lane. If you look at Skarner's pathing, he should hit level 6 around the time he catches his own red buff. So that's a huge sign of distress from FPX right now. How are they going to defend their bot lane from this Skarner plus Thresh combo?
Because they'll keep coming. They'll keep coming in that early game over and over again. Pepper, though, looking for a contest here over the buff, it looks like. Over the Grump, rather, and Chieftain completely caught out. Cool, following up with the damage, misses the threaded volley. Chieftain flashes over the wall, and that'll be the end of it. But Chieftain taking all that damage and dropping that low. Wow, he's actually going to go right back into his wolf camp.
Oh, this is extremely ballsy. You could see that there was a possibility that Amazing Jay would have been dove as well, sticking really far underneath his tower. He's not going to even touch the wave. Good play there from Amazing Jay.
Okay, in the end, Chieftain's going to be okay, but he was spotted out. There was a great Scry's balloon coming in from Cool, so he just spotted him on the camp, was trying to contest him after it.
And this is the point of difference between Cool and Bing. The coordination between Cool and Pepper is so much better. Cool instantly saw that Mo was already heading back. He was calling his recall for the Catalyst, so he went with the invade with Pepper. And that's something we didn't see before when it was between Bing and Pepper. So much better synergy between in that duo.
Yeah, we'd absolutely never see it. And at the same time, Chieftain moving up with Road. We'll see if he can make this happen. We're contesting the Wolf camp right now, but Road is closing in from around the side. Chieftain got a lot of his health back, and he's level 5 right now, plus he's fighting on the Spire. So this is not a good fight here for Pepper. He's going to get dragged in once more, has to flash out of this one. The hook goes wide. Pepper finds the sidestep, but he's getting chased down, and Mole knocks him into his passive form. Chris comes up, but I don't think there's going to be anything to save. And he goes down. First blood goes over to the Thresh, but more blood to follow because Chieftain's dead. And now goes the Skarner. Cool, providing cover fire, but Chris dragged in mid-air, taken down. 3 kills to BLG.
Yeah, great play there, cutting back onto the other side of the map. So FPX just made a play on the top side. We're going to equalize it out with a play from the bottom side. And the pathing from them was really good as well. They sort of chased Pepper towards the bot lane where they already had a summoner's advantage. And once they turned that into a strong 4-man, there was no hope for FPX.
Pepper just really deciding he wants to do is plant his feet, try and just trade off on this one, hoping his team would be able to support him. But in the end, BLG managed to make a great situation happen. And that was, remember, off the back of Chieftain losing his side of the jungle, then rotating towards his bottom jungle, and then going for the invade, getting his health back. Pepper, however, going straight in for this gank into the top lane, try and get Gimgoon rolling. Hextech ultimatum knocks the minions away, and Amazing J nowhere to go. Will flash away, though, but Tactical Swoop will finish him off.
He's still fine, though, down 1 death, but that's not enough to swing the matchup completely out of hand. We've seen Gimgoon going on these more fighter-esque champions, a lot of times the Vladimir and the Fiora, but he usually takes a while to get going. So, you know, just be more careful in the top lane. It's not a death sentence for him so far.
Yeah, it would just be a nice kill there for Gimgoon, or accelerating towards his item build, gets towards that Triforce a little bit faster. And that bottom lane still trading blows, but it seems like Jin Zhao has the early game advantage right there, plus he picked up that kill off of that skirmish in the jungle.
And we do have to pay very close attention to Chieftain right now. He's already hit 6. He can take the Thresh Lantern and really surprise people with the gank.
He's heading towards his blue buff, wants to steal this one away. It has been warded out by FPX, however, so they will see him on this one. Chieftain looking towards the bot lane and mid lane, see if anyone's reacting, but bot lane's pushed up. BLG have the priority on this one. Road is already here, so Chieftain should be able to take this one away.
Now, the real takeaway is FPX does not have their jungler in this sector. They do have the teleport advantage, but they're not going to contest.
This is really interesting to watch BLG play, being very proactive in this early game, and that's pretty much been the hallmark of BLG's players, that they are not good in the early game. They're great at team fights, but they very much acknowledge that they cannot early game at all. Yeah,
so the new BLG with Chieftain and Mole, they've actually doubled the amount of kills they have before 15 minutes. This is the new face of BLG. They play very heavily towards the bot side. They allow Jin Zhao and Road to play these extremely aggressive laning setups, and then they take mid priority.
And they continue to gank over and over again, zoning away Cool from this one, delaying the minion wave. Mole just get a bit of time to hit the tower, but there's no kill onto Cool right here.
Still forcing Cool back away from the tower. They have complete control over the right side of the map, excuse me. And they're just trying to squeeze every inch of advantage out of it.
But this is just so different. It's almost like I'm not watching BLG at all, you know?
Oh, they even look completely different.
Yeah, even back into IMA days, I'm just like, wow, this is an entirely different team I'm watching right now. And it's even more interesting because we're in week 9 right now. We have week 10 to go, then we're in playoffs in the LPL. And for now, BLG swap in Mole and Chieftain. I don't know if they're going to stay on the starting roster, but it's a very late change into the roster this far into the split.
Yeah, to be honest, I think they're here to stay, and the real question is why they didn't swap earlier. Like, this is a much more dynamic BLG. We used to call them the Platypus, but...
You called them that.
Yeah, I called them the Platypus. Sorry. But I feel like they make a lot more sense right now, and the biggest benefactor actually has been Road, because he actually has somewhere to roam to.
Hook comes through, gonna lock onto the Tam Ken. She's got a fat hitbox, and now he's under attack from Jin Zhao, and Chieftain coming in. There's the Lantern play, drags the Tam Ken back to his team. He's suppressed. No gray skin coming out of that one.
Yep, and that is why the combo is so deadly. We can see how far the range of initiation is for Chieftain right there. He didn't even need to burn his flash to get that kill. Chris already had his flash up, but still could not escape.
Now BLG moving into this bottom lane, he's constant proactive plays. Great knockback in from Rhodes. Prevents Pepper from looking for any type of engagement, even taking out these minions right here. So that will be even more damage onto the tower. And we also saw Mole rotating towards this bottom lane. BLG just plays so fast. Yeah,
this is definitely something new from them. Longtime viewers probably won't recognize this team, but we can see the advantages of having mid-jungle priority. You know, SKS, the one that Chieftain replaced, really didn't look for that much early action. He was basically a ward type of jungler. He would go into the enemy jungle, but only towards like the ramps of the rivers and drop a ward and then walk away. But so far, Chieftain, what we've seen from him, he's much more aggressive and he's much more willing to pull his mid laner and create action with the team. And they're just playing off a lot of the strengths in the bot lane as well. Jin Zhao is one that, if you look at his late game team fights, you would call him a rather unlucky AD carry. But if you're just purely looking at his laning phase, I think he's great.
Well, FPX is one of the first proactive moves we're seeing out from them. Again, looking to gank this top side, and they're throwing all the ultimates and Amazing J, everything under the sun. But in comes Mole. Maybe he can get a return kill right here, because Cool is low. Pops him with the Sif Lightning, but now he's in the 1 versus 2. He has the Zonias to buy some time, looking for this ultimate to come down. He's able to activate it, but Mole trying to get away once again. There's the follow-up in from Gimgoon, eventually finishes them off.
So a good 3v2 right there, and BLG able to come out quite far ahead. I was wondering why Mole didn't cancel his teleport. His jungler was not on that side of the map, so he actually willed himself into a 3v2 that didn't work out very well. If he actually just stayed mid, BLG would have been very, very far ahead.
And that will be a kill going down there, or 2 kills rather, to FPX, but the bottom lane tower will also fall. I didn't quite see who won the race because it seems simultaneous.
Yeah, just reading by the scores here, it should have been BLG that got the first brick. They didn't share it, and now they're going to snowball off another Drake.
And FPX, they have the dual lane in the bottom side, so we'll see if they actually move towards the Herald and try and make a trade right here, but it doesn't look to be the case. And BLG will definitely benefit from this play.
Yeah, this is pretty much how BLG defeated Snake. So we didn't have a lot of hope for BLG actually coming out of that matchup ahead, but their bot lane was able to kick Crystal's face in and basically keep up the pressure for the entirety of the match. And this is welcome to the new BLG, man. This is the type of team I want to watch.
This is so different, but it's a good different, you know, from what we're seeing so far. 13 minutes into the game, I'm expecting BLG to be behind in gold, but they're actually 1,200 gold up on FPX right now. And FPX are usually the team you're looking towards to have that great early game. Yes, they'll generally be going later, but typically they still get the leads in the early game so they can transition into that mid game.
Yeah, and this is something that I didn't expect to happen. Just reading at the matchup, you know, Cool is a MVP from 2013. Pepper has shown great mechanics. I thought FPX mid and jungle duo would be able to hold BLG's mid and jungle down, but that's not what happened that game. BLG, they were able to chain their mid and their bot lane properly and do it before FPX could react.
In this game, however, Gimgoon has managed to get 2 kills on this Camille, so we're not seeing the Vladimir out from him, but we are seeing the Camille, so that is a power point that FPX can play around as this game goes on, but right now it's just BLG, constant aggression, constantly invading, and it's always at the same time. Every member comes up and comes into this play. It's not one by one, it's not uncoordinated.
Oh,
Pepper with the flyby! Oh, that was so sick.
I don't know if that was synergy or anti-synergy.
I don't know. It was one of the two, but
yeah.
Fantastic from Pepper.
You know, that was some pie level calculations, man. He's like, you know, if I can cut this circle, you know, I'm not going to go by the radius because the radius actually isn't the shortest distance.
You can see the numbers flying by his face right there,
Definitely.
and he'll get the red buff. In the end, however, Herald will go over to BLG, and Amazing J is again probably going to be the sacrificial lamb. He will jump away. Ornhorn comes through. They are still aggressing on him. They still want to kill Amazing J right here. Double knockup comes in, and Gimgoon out of the Hextech ultimatum, but he doesn't really want to be in this fight anymore. Finally, in this 2 versus 1, finish off Amazing J.
Good to go for another trade. I think what we should watch here is if they funnel all the gold into Gimgoon, they want him to sit on that double item advantage, so that's when he can split push. He's looking for the Ravenous Hydra and also the Triforce before he can really start impacting the map right here.
Here's the Herald. will be coming into this next turret because that tower's already down. So BLG, they're pushing up with this minion wave. I don't think FPX is going to be able to stop them right here. We've got the rotation from Cool, but I'm not sure if BLG are committing, actually, and they decide to back away. Tam Kench with the rotation.
Yep, but now look at the mid lane tower. It's completely open, and we see a 4-man collapse already. BLG moving much faster than their opponents.
Oh, they're actually choosing to look for a pick in the rotation as well, knowing that FPX, they knew what BLG was going to do, but they were also trying to cut them off in the rotation. So, man, this team just doesn't miss a beat. Moving now to the middle lane, looking to push this one down.
Yeah, they're pretty much one step ahead of FPX the entire time, and the real big thing now is really Chieftain, I would say. If you look at how much vision control he actually has over the enemy jungle, it's very surprising. He's keeping tabs on basically wherever Pepper is, and he's allowing them to rotate faster on the map. You know, I actually feel like, I just don't know why BLG really took so long. They took till week 8 to really pull the trigger between SKS and Chieftain, and the results have been night and day.
It really has. Just watching this and just doing the eye test, like Chieftain is so different. It looks like he's calling the shots as well. He's always the first on the scene, and then the team is arriving to the play, making these aggressive plays into the jungle. And Pepper's barely had anything. I mean, like, he's got his red buff because he came with a steal, but everything is being contested.
Yep, part of it has to do with the matchup as well. We do see that Pepper was going into a weaker jungle matchup into the Zac. What FPX composition they do have over BLG is that they do have the 4-1, and they also have a bit more range in terms of their initiations. So what they want to do is probably just kind of dance around BLG's team composition. They don't want to straight engage now. They're actually at a very weak point in terms of their combinations. They do want the Camille to sit on that 2-item spike where she can really start controlling the lane over Amazing J.
For sure, try and look for that split push there with Gimgoon. And BLG, however, they are only around 1,000 gold ahead, so it's definitely nice to have, but there's not a tower difference just yet. It's just kind of how the game feels, you know, but in terms of what actually we have in terms of tangibles, FPX are still doing fine.
Yep. In terms of kills, I mean, it does look like a 5v5, but you feel like BLG's a lot stronger just because all the kills are basically centered on Gimgoon. Now, this is a very interesting strategy that FPX has been running. They basically have incredible faith in Gimgoon. They always blind pick for him. He's actually been blind picked 6 games in a row, and they just tell him to win his lane regardless of the opponent matchup.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the first game where I actually feel like it's kind of a deserved strategy because they're putting a lot of eggs into his basket, and they're actually investing in him. So I want to see if he can actually pull a 4-1, because their 4-1 so far has not looked very good.
Yeah, very true, but most of those 4-1s that we saw was in the Bing era in the mid lane, so it generally meant that the 4 or the 3 even would just collapse in the mid lane, meaning that, well, the enemy team, whoever they would be, would just run over FPX. So that was the problem. It's pretty much been the problem plaguing Gimgoon for his entire career, from what I've seen.
Team synergy.
Yeah, because it's like he'll go to the side lane looking for the 1-4, then his 4 will just not be able to hold, and the game ends.
Yeah, pretty much. And also a lot of times he actually goes in without any pressure on the map as well, so he dies himself. LWX in a bit of a jiffy right there.
A bit of a pickle. But Court comes in with the Weaver's Wall and will space out BLG, force them back. And Gimgoon still pushing in this bottom lane right here. Amazing J is actually going to come in around behind him, try and clear out this minion wave more than anything. And Gimgoon will hook shot away. There's actually multiple members coming into this bottom lane, approaching, trying to look for the pick, knowing that maybe Gimgoon will try and jump onto Amazing J, but he'll back away, looking towards the team now because the Dragon has spawned. They want to try and contest this.
We do have Mole sitting on a teleport, so he can assist in this fight if he wants to.
Got to find Road right there with the flick, however. He turns around, but he's caught once again by Pepper. Gonna drag him back into the team, but he's already dead. And now the Dragon will go over to FPX, and BLG unable to contest.
Yeah, that's the problem with Road as well. Is a support that really likes the face check. Probably should have called Ornn there to do it, but he wanted to take some seconds off the rotation, went in himself, and really good catch for FPX there. Gets all of the summoners from the backline as well. So this really sets them up for a big comeback type of fight. They can have Gimgoon control the bot wave, and once he collapses, there's going to be no reaction from Jin Zhao and Road.
So for now, FPX have a bit of a tempo advantage. That was nice to try and pick up that Dragon right there, also take out Road. For now, Jin Zhao is going to move back into this mid lane along with Road. In fact, not look towards the side lane, and more look towards a pick.
Things still pretty slow for FPX. They do want a bit more time to scale down. All eyes on that Camille and Gimgoon. see how he can do.
Right now he has 3 kills out of the total 6 that FPX have, so a lot of gold has gone towards him. Looks like he's splitting his focus now, picked up the tier map, but has now picked up the Drum's Fist, so is slightly adjusting his focus. Probably looking for towards the Titanic Hydra instead of the Ravenous Hydra. Here comes the Ornhorn. Engage out from Pepper, but the ramp comes through, knocks up the Tam Kench. Chris on the backside. Gimgoon right in the middle of the fight. Finds the Assassinate right there, but now he's going to fall as he jumps on top of Jin Zhao. A 2-for-1 trade in favor of BLG.
That was pretty insane by LWX. He was able to avoid all of that damage and get over the wall to safety. That being said, however, BLG with a massive win, and they're staring at Baron right now. They're going to try to force them down. They can sit Mole in one of these bushes and basically wait for any member on FPX to come near.
He's pushing in this mid lane right now. We've got Chieftain around the side trying to zone people away. Pepper, again, seeing if he can find a way into the middle lane, but he's completely blocked. He has to take the long route around, so BLG will pick up this tower uncontested. 21 minutes in and has taken all the outer turrets.
Like we said, BLG, even though they don't have the range, they do have the raw fighting power. So if you're face checking into this composition, it's very dangerous. They have a continuous CC chain between Never Move, Death Sentence, and also just the Impale. So what BLG really want to do is they want to force FPX to kind of stick their neck out and walk into them.
That's what they're doing right now. They're stepping up into the mid lane. BLG are in position to try and collapse though, because here comes the line of traps out from LWX, making it very difficult for BLG to approach. Looking for the hook to quite connect onto Chris. Nice little sidestep coming in there. And the minions are about to dissipate, but I believe LWX will be able to knock it over. There you go. Has the rip buff as well. Deal even more damage to that turret. So the other turret is finally down now for FPX. They are able to respond.
Great move by FPX. They already saw Amazing J commit to the rotation in the bot lane, so they took the 5v4 opportunity in the mid. And we're faster on the tempo, so able to take down that mid lane tower. This will give them a much better opportunity to not face check into the red side jungle, but instead to just push the mid wave and try to draw BLG out.
FPX, for the most part, look to be recalling to base right now. Cool has just picked up the Oblivion Orb on top of his Archangel staff. Looks like Gimgoon is also picking up the Vamp Scepter, so he could go either way with this build.
Oh, he's so far behind at this point. If you look at Cole's item, he's completely actually just half an item behind now that he's finished his Morellonomicon. But he's still not having the impact he really wants in this team fights. He's having to hit a very tanky front line in Amazing J and Chieftain.
This is becoming a problem, but this is an all-in from Gimgoon, trying to take out this tower, which he does so. However, he's got 2 members coming in from around behind him, so he's going to have to try and escape with this one. Can he make it happen? Because he's already slowed down by the Ram. Can he get knocked up as well? And the Chain of Corruption, so he is very much dead. Jin Zhao will find that kill.
This pretty much forces FPX to clear out the top side of the Baron. They probably won't try to look for a play here. Teleport's still up for Amazing J. But that's pretty much the only thing they can do is just use Gimgoon's death to try to control some vision here.
But as long as this doesn't turn into anything for BLG, that was just a tower on the bottom side for Gimgoon, actually taking the lead there on towers.
Yeah, and even though that was, you know, that death from Gimgoon wasn't really that bad, it does showcase why they don't really play the 4-1 very well. Gimgoon's communication with the team is, I would consider, quite poor. He likes to go over the river very deep into enemy lanes when there is no pressure elsewhere on the map. So typically in that type of scenario, when you want to go past the river, you want your team elsewhere on the map, grouped as 4 and trying to contest something, like maybe try to push into the vision around Baron or something like that. But he doesn't wait for his team to set up. He goes in alone.
Yeah. In this case, it may end up working out. In fact, ends up working out, but it's definitely because this happens every single time.
Yes.
Eventually, it's going to you know, mount up, and then BLG might be able to find those cracks in the armor to take apart FPX right now. However, for now, BLG maintain control around the Baron pit. They managed to clear out that vision placed down by FPX, and FPX also have that bottom lane tower already taken down. So Gimgoon's actually going to go back into the bottom lane, however. Now he's going to start pressuring this inhibitor tower.
He really does need to move his pace in terms of split pushing right here. You can see Amazing J already trying to match pretty early on. If that wave is cleared up, like if that wave is continuously stacked, then it actually becomes easier for the enemy top laner to clear it up. So a lot of times, as a split pusher, you don't want to stack an entirely large wave if you're going to commit to it.
BLG are forcing the issue right here. They've started off the Baron, but the Weaver's Wall comes through. We'll spot this one out from BLG. Still back away, but Chieftain, he's found the pick onto Tam Kench, and he takes the Lancer as well, drags him all the way back into his team. And Chris, in the middle of no man's land, he'll flash over the wall. Chain of Corruption doesn't land, but Road finishes him off.
Last tick of damage right there, and we can see the other piece of the combo is that you can drag the Skarner back towards the Lantern. You can take the Lantern when you have already impaled someone. So another great catch from BLG.
Really nice. Takes out Crisp, but Gimgun was pressuring the bottom side while that was happening. Got a fair amount of damage onto this tower. Now he's in the 1v1 against Amazing J, who has itemized towards dealing with the Camille. So he will be, for the most part, a brick wall. The red buff will be taken away there by FPX, and BLG get out.
Still a 4v4 scenario here in the top side. And if you look at BLG's vision, they still have full control. So as long as they can continuously do this, they might not take Baron on the first try, but they will take Baron on the second or maybe even the third try. So it really is up to FPX at this point to try to kind of break this mold. They either need to accelerate their builds where they feel comfortable enough to take a team fight, try to push BLG out of this position, or they just need like Gimgun to pull enough pressure in the bot.
Now his build is actually starting to come together as well on that Camille. Has just picked up the Ravenous Hydra in the end, now looking towards Sterix it looks like, so that's what the Joran's Fist will turn into in the end. So as that all comes together, a Camille will be a bigger and bigger threat, but for now, he's actually grouping up with his team, even though he has teleport.
Yep, they just want this group to get vision, clear all of this out.
Now BLG is just going to come back in again, the old ebb and flow of the vision war. BLG will get all these wards and place down their own once again. Ping has just gone down onto the bottom lane tower, so I feel like, yeah, that's a call from FPX. Gimgun moving into the bottom lane, but we've got a couple recalls coming out, which have just been cancelled. BLG, however, just started the Baron.
Yeah, they're going to force a teleport at the minimum from Gimgun.
It's down to half already. Ward over the wall. Call coming in from the top side. Mole is zoning him away on this one. Crisp over the wall as well, but here comes Pepper. Can he find the steal? It's down to 2,000 HP, and they have disengaged. BLG not looking for this one anymore. They're, in fact, looking for these picks more than anything else.
That's an interesting play there. They actually wait. Oh, but
there's the Order Horn and the catch as well, Clement. Down goes the Tam Kench, and that's what BLG were looking for.
Yeah, so what BLG did really well there was they actually waited until Gimgun finished his teleport before fully deciding to back off. So even though there could be a case made right there for them to keep on the Baron, but I actually think the pull away was rather clever, and they still got another pick, so they can do it again, basically.
Yeah, it feels good because it's safe. There's no risk of Pepper finding a steal onto the Baron. They just back away, get the pick, move onto it once more. So again, Pepper's over the wall, so it would be a 50-50. And it seems like BLG are just trying to use the Baron as a catalyst to find some picks.
Yep. When you don't have the range advantage, you want to force FPX, the enemy team, into places where they are in much closer proximity, and they're continuing to do it. And what's really important here is that they're not actually expending that many flashes to get these catches. So the big ones you want to look for is basically Jin Zhao's flash and Chieftain's flash. So if these two still have their flashes up, they can basically always continue to make these type of catches. Jin Zhao can flash forward and hit someone with the corrupting chains. And FPX, they're just bleeding out deaths just to contain BLG at this point.
Well, look at the control wards that BLG just picked up. Oh. There is, wait, 12 control wards that they just picked up. So they are ready for the long haul. They are going to just sit at Baron. FPX, if you want to clear out the vision, fine. We've got plenty of more wards. We've got wards for days.
The BLG they have to make one of these catches transition into Baron pretty soon because they're already sitting at close to 30 minutes. We see the 3-item spike come out for FPX. If FPX is allowed to get to 4-item spikes, then I feel like the teamfight dynamics actually change quite a bit. If they're able to keep their distance, LWX will deal more damage in the late game. So these are probably like 2 more face checks, and BLG has to get the Baron.
Ooh, hook over the wall. Doesn't quite connect onto Pepper, who just continues walking forwards. LWX will get a nice bit of damage there. Amazing Jade now looking for the pick as well. It moves onto the Zac right here. He's going to use Let's Bounce and get back towards his team. Actually not move anywhere. And BLG still looking to try and cut FPX off as they move towards their turrets right here.
Great play from Pool right there. Stops any engage potential from BLG.
That was definitely a close hook, almost landing onto LWX, and it's just poking back and forth. This war of attrition. And BLG, they're still sitting in this brush. FPX just dancing around the ball right here. That is BLG.
Really important thing to note is that BLG did clear out the minion wave, so even though FPX have the inner track, they're not able to use it.
They're clearing out this minion wave, yes, but they can't quite turn that into anything. Dragon's also just spawned as well, but Baron is what's being contested here by BLG. They're forcing FPX to stay right here.
Yeah, and FPX are actually fine playing this game as long as they play safe enough not to get engaged upon. Very good cleanse here coming from Chris, but is running the unsealed spellbook.
That's cleansed down, however, still has his flash. And BLG maintaining control. Another hook onto the Tam Kench. Now he burns his flash. That's both summoners down now from the Tam Kench. Never move onto Pepper. He's dragged in as well. He'll have to flash away. Flick doesn't quite land onto Amazing J. He managed to back away. Gimgun on the front lines moves towards Mole, who pops his own ultimate. He's low, but he gets all his health back. And that's going to be the first kill down onto Chris. And the explosion damage coming in from the Swain. We'll find a second onto LWX.
And LWX not respecting the Skarner. Doesn't burn his flash or heal right there. Dies immediately. So teamfight goes over to BLG quite cleanly. I feel like FPX, staying mid is fine because it means you don't have to face check. They're basically like forcing BLG to handshake and just keep them there without like actually walking in. But I felt like they probably needed to advance the wave a little bit for that position. Just like draw BLG out of the Baron area a little bit. They're too content to sit there, and they walked very, very close to the ridge right there. So this is actually the second time that Chris has been hooked. FPX still stay around. They feel like it's fine. And then that's the third catch they get onto Pepper. And then Gimgun goes in for some reason.
Yeah, it just felt like BLG were just playing it out like it's just a matter of time. Someone's going to step forwards and we're going to be able to finish them off. And that's exactly what happened. It seemed like FPX were just playing the same game that BLG had proposed. And they were like, okay, sure, we'll keep walking up to the brush into blind vision, basically, and just hope we don't get hooked.
Yeah, so FPX, they were thinking about, their mentality was, we just want to drag this out as long as possible. Yeah. But I feel like they try to bait BLG a little bit too much, you know? Like, 3 catches is like, it's probably a bit much, and then Gimgun goes in. So,
yeah.
A bit of a weird scenario for them. I feel like that way where they did have the minion, they could just, you know, try to force it a little bit, force it down mid lane a little bit. They didn't necessarily need it to use their actual bodies to bait it out.
But now on BLG's side, they've essentially got everything they wanted from that play. They were looking for the pick. They found 2, went towards the Baron. They picked up the Baron, and now they can be on the offensive. They can look towards these inner turrets now and look for even more picks because Cool is out of position. Chieftain's found him, and Mole will finish him off. Another hook! They just keep landing out from Road. They do not end. Dragged into the team, and Pepper by himself. He'll jump away, but there's no frontline now, so Caitlyn's dead, and Chris soon to follow.
The CC was insane from Road right there. He gets a death sentence on the first person, gets another death sentence, and then goes in, flays 2 people back as well. So 4 critical CCs coming out from Road.
When Road's feeling it, when he's on this thresh, he's always a playmaker, Road. We always know him as a playmaker. And Pepper was trying to recall in lane. Chieftain's found him, and he's just stopping this recall. Even if he doesn't kill him, there's no one to defend the base. This is going to be at least an inhibitor.
And Gimgun not able to trade anything back with the towers. They will be able to defend this wave, but they're in a very large hold at this point for FPX.
I'm not sure if FPX can actually defend this one because Gimgun has gone back to base, but the first Nexus turret is already down. The jungler can't get into this one, and Chris is just respawning now. Maybe he can't get the Nexus, but they're looking for these picks because Gimgun has gone for the engage. He's onto Jin Zhao, but now he's being chased down himself, and Jin Zhao executes him point blank. Chris walking up, and LWX he doesn't have the damage to get through the front line. Amazing J gets the lockdown. Mole finds the kill, and BLG in one push off of the Baron. Look for the finish. They're onto the Nexus, and they will take game 1.
Great play there. Hero attempts from Gimgun coming out, but not able to close out on Jin Zhao. He manages to sidestep the tactical sweep and walk away with his life, turns back, and then executes Gimgun.
Wow, incredible from BLG. This is my first time casting the new BLG, and I've got to say I was impressed. I was not expecting there to be any action pre-30. I'll be like, I'm just going to wait for team fights. That's when it's going to pop up for BLG. But no, they were constantly invading, constantly trying to find advantages for themselves, and more often than not, they managed to find those advantages.
Yep, this is the new platypus. You know, they stopped laying eggs, they got rid of the bill, and they're just like, we're a normal mammal right now. We're going to start be a team that makes sense. And BLG, this roster with Chieftain and Mole, like I've said, the biggest benefactor is Road. He gets to make plays early on. He gets to roam around. He has a place to go to and group up as a 3-man to try to force things. And we've seen in this game, like, he's just been popping off recently.
Yeah, really impressive to see out from that team. On FPX's side, I feel like this kind of got taken off guard by the constant aggression that was coming out, because Pepper went for his typical invades onto the blue side. He was looking towards the blue buff, and he's like, great, we pushed him out of jungle. Fine, I'll just go back to my own jungle. Chieftain loops all the way around the map and goes for his own invade. I think they just weren't expecting it.
The big thing for me about FPX is I actually think that they should be the one playing aggressive with their mid and jungle duo. They are the more experienced combination. The other two people are rookies standing right next to them. So I didn't think that they would be on the defensive end, but they did pick for a later game hyper-scaling team fight, and BLG were able to run away early.
Yeah, Chieftain was a major part of that early game. But for now, we are going to send it back to the analyst desk to take a look at their first game.
Thank you so much. And just like that, FPX's climb to the top has just gotten that much more difficult.
It's official. They no longer can take head-to-head. So that's the thing with FPX immediately if you look towards the playoff run.
That being said, though, it was still a valiant effort from FPX to try to get themselves back into it. We saw some outplays, we saw some styles, but BLG, they didn't come here looking to play League of Legends. They wanted to play Fishing Simulator 2018. It was just hook after hook after hook, just constantly trying to find people.
It's funny, too, because the Tom Kench pick was just to deny all of that, but then you realize you are the focus. So we even saw the itemizing coming out. Of course, Spellbook means you can go towards Cleanse and then itemize towards QSS. But you can only use so many. So as long as you stay in the mid lane for however long and you are playing towards the constant vision control that BLG have, they were just buying control wards after control wards. So you just have to at least put your neck out there and commit to a team fight. That's what happened. And BLG were able to take it.
But that's what's so scary, right? When you're FPX and you're playing against BLG, and they are setting so much vision. Chieftain and Mole specifically moving as a jungle mid duo all across the map. What on earth can you do when there's already a Skarner and a Swain in your bush?
I'm going to add a third wheel to that.
Yeah.
It's Road. Because every single time we see these pairs come together, a lot of it is in the bottom side of the map, and a lot of it means that Road gets to join them. Bottom lane has been linked in officially, of course, for BLG. A lot of their style before these two came in was top side, mid lane, top side, mid lane. Bottom lane a lot of the times had their hands up in the air and they were just farming it up until team fights. But now Road is picking up much more aggressive champions. The Alistar previously threshed this time around and allows himself to walk in and allow these plays to happen. This is another good example of get your hell out of your own jungle. You have no vision there, control ward after control ward on the side of BLG, and so Talia gets picked up back over your wall. And so this is how sticky your composition is if you're a BLG. It's not only the first pick, immediately getting the second one, the Zac, of course, and then you continue onwards because there's so many pick points of your composition.
We saw the Talia getting pulled over her own wall. That just feels really bad as a mid laner when you learn that that's a mechanic in the actual game. That being said, though, we're trying to go as quick as we possibly can. For those of you who are at home, we are covering the entire series from beginning to end. We do not want you to miss anything. That's the reason why we're trying to start from the beginning and go through picks and bans as quickly as possible. It's because we don't want to fall too far behind what's happening live. So if you want to continue to watch the English coverage of the LPL, stick right with us. That being said, though, we've still got a little bit more to talk about for this game because FPX, Gimgoon came out swinging. He tried in the top lane. He still showed some good maneuvers. We saw what happened when Gimgoon, Pepper, and Cool could find themselves, I guess, roving the map collectively when they managed to gank the bottom lane. It was not enough to give them an advantage, though.
It's not enough because the crux of the composition, the pillar had to be around mid lane. And mid lane fell way too far behind, not going to be doing damage if Talia's major build order is through the tier. So if you're going up against Swain, suddenly you fall in behind because your early game wasn't impactful enough, and now Swain has the Merc Treads and has, of course, the Catalyst, so he can just walk up towards you and not care too much about the fact that you can throw pebbles at him. So immediately, the draft made it incredibly difficult for FPX, and so they got punished after that.
They certainly did. That being said, we've now got a quick break on our hands. Don't worry, the LPL English will be right back.